I'm back. Hi, it's Gabriel, and this is Learning English Path. And in this lesson, I'm going to teach you 8 taboo subjects when speaking English. Have you missed me? I've been away for a while, but I've been working on some extraordinary things. And I promise you, within the next couple of weeks, you will find out about those projects that I've been working on, okay? So, anyway, if you're new to the channel, welcome, okay? And if you want to get a free guide on 101 songs to learn English, make sure you check that out in the description. It's a fantastic 125-page guide on with tons of exercises on learning English with the 101 best songs to learn English with. You learn so many grammar points, vocabulary, listening skills, idioms. It's fantastic. Okay, so I promise you, if you get this, you'll make a lot of progress on your English. All right, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Click that notification bell so that you know when a new video comes out. I will be posting 3 times a week from now on, even if it's live sometimes, okay? So today, 8 taboo subjects. But first, what is taboo? What does this mean? Well, a taboo subject is something that you are not really supposed to talk about with someone who you don't know very well yet, okay? Or something that you're not really supposed to talk about professionally, either at work or in a professional environment, such as a bank or maybe a doctor's office or a legal setting, right? Somewhere professional. And why are you not supposed to talk about these things? They are considered to be incorrect, improper, antisocial to talk about, right? Because these subjects people often have very strong opinions about. Okay, so if you have a very strong opinion about something and the person you're talking to also has a very strong opinion about it, but you actually have the opposite opinion to that person, that can cause a real problem because you might not want to threaten a potential relationship or friendship with that person. Okay, so if you're in a working environment, then you want to keep that relationship, you want to keep it strong, right? You don't want there to be a conflict between you and people you're working with in a professional setting, because that might mean you don't get promoted. That might put your job at risk. That might make it difficult to even work together if you are both aware of this opposite strong opinion that you have, and there's a conflict between your opinion and this person's opinion. So, the way we deal with this issue in society is we consider it wrong to talk about this subject at all. Because if we just don't talk about the subject, then we don't risk this conflict, which causes us trouble at work or Maybe it's not at work. Maybe you are meeting new people for the first time. Maybe it's at a party. And a party is supposed to be friendly, right? You don't want to have a conflict with someone at a party. So you avoid talking about certain subjects because there's a risk that if you have conflicting opinions, then the party will start to go wrong, right? And maybe you're visiting maybe you have a new girlfriend or boyfriend and you're visiting their family for the first time. Again, there are these taboo subjects you don't talk about, because if you talk about them and there's a conflict of opinion, then that's a problem, and that can threaten your relationship, your potential relationship with that partner, right? So that is why we have certain subjects that are taboo in society. And here are 8 taboo subjects in English-speaking countries, okay? Now, they can be a little bit different depending on which country you're talking about, but they're quite similar. So the first one is politics. Most people consider your political views, your political opinions to be a taboo subject because it's so divisive, right? Especially, let's say, in the USA now with Trump. You have about 50% of people who voted for Trump and 50% of people who did not vote for Trump. And they both groups of people have very strong opinions about this issue. So, if you meet someone at a party, or if you're working with someone, there's a chance that there's a good chance that there's going to be someone there who has a very different opinion to you about this issue. So you avoid talking about it because you don't want to threaten your new possible friendship, right? So politics is one. And that's in the USA, the UK. It's a very strong taboo subject. Okay, now when you get to know someone a little bit more, you might be subtle and start to ask them about these kinds of things. If it's not a working relationship, right? If it's not going to cause a problem at work, you might want to in a friendly way ask them, but very subtly, right? Very softly, gently, not in a strong way, okay? Number 2 is religion. This, especially in the UK, especially in the UK, it's a very taboo subject. Not so much in the USA, actually, because it's a very Christian nation in general. However, it's becoming more and more taboo the more multicultural it gets, and the USA is the most multicultural country in the world, right? But still, people are a little bit more open about their religion than they are in the UK. In the UK, they are very much like, we don't want to talk about it because maybe one person doesn't believe in any religion and the other person is a Christian, and they both have very strong views about what they think. Okay, so you don't want to talk about religion, especially in the UK, at work or with someone you know, with someone who you've just met, okay? Number 3 is death. Death is a very taboo subject. Think about it. People don't talk about death a lot. Even when someone does die, right? when let's say that you know someone at work and they had a couple of days off of work because maybe someone in their family died. You wouldn't talk about it with that person, not in an English-speaking country. You would just say a very quick, "I'm sorry for your loss." Okay, "I'm sorry to hear about what happened." But you wouldn't discuss the circumstances of the death very much. You wouldn't discuss the other person's grief a lot. And you definitely wouldn't discuss their beliefs about what happens after you die. Now, this is very strange if you think about it, but it's a taboo subject because a lot of people don't like talking about death. They feel uncomfortable, and we tend to not want to offend other people by talking about something that will make them feel uncomfortable, right? So death is number 3. Number 4 is a culturally sensitive political issue. Okay, I know we've already talked about politics, but that was just about the political party that you support. Okay, your political affiliation. Affiliation means which party you support. But this is more broad. Okay, specific issues. One example is abortion. Okay, whether or not a woman has the right to have the fetus aborted in her womb, right? If she's pregnant, whether or not if she doesn't want the baby, does she have the right to not have the baby? This is abortion. And this is a topic that people don't like to discuss at work because there are very strong opinions about this. And again, if you have a strong opinion and another person has the opposite strong opinion and you're working together, it's a big problem. Okay? Another example might be drugs. Your views on drug law. Right? What should people do about drugs? Do people have the right to take drugs? Do people not have the right to take drugs? This is a taboo subject. Another one is immigration. Your views on whether or not your country should allow people from another country to come and live in the country or not. Okay? It's a big one in the USA, also in the UK. And one more example might be war. So your opinions on whether or not the country should go to war with another country. This is another politically, culturally sensitive issue. Okay, so I'm grouping that all together as one. Number 4. Number 5 is the topic of sex. Okay, sex is a very taboo subject in a working environment. Now, you can get away with little jokes here and there that reference sex in a funny way sometimes, but often it's something that is sensitive to talk about, especially with people you've just met, especially if it's a male and a female. It's a little bit different, actually, if you're the same gender. If it's 2 men talking, or if it's 2 women talking, you can actually be a little bit more open, but not too much, right? You're not going to be talking about how often you have sex every week, okay? So this is a taboo subject in a lot of English-speaking countries. Number 6 is income or money. All right? People don't like to discuss how much money they earn every month in English-speaking countries. And in some countries, I know that they're very open about that. In China, you get asked that all the time, and it's a very common question, like, oh, how much money do you make? And you're expected to answer without any problem. But in English-speaking countries, that is a very kind of rude question. You don't ask someone how much money they make every month, because it's a very personal thing in these countries. Okay, so money or income. Taboos 7 and 8 are specifically when you are talking to a female. Okay, when you're talking to a woman. Usually it's mostly offensive when you are a man talking to a woman. Okay, so number 7 is talking about weight. So you are not supposed to ask a woman about how much they weigh, okay? Because this is a very sensitive issue for them. And also, I suppose if you are talking to a large man, okay, a man who is overweight, and you can tell he's a little bit fat, okay? If you can tell that, you probably shouldn't ask his weight either, because the whole point is that you might make them feel bad or uncomfortable about themselves, and if you do that, you do risk a conflict, all right? And you don't want the conflict when you're at work. So that goes for any female. It doesn't matter if they're skinny, you still don't ask them their weight. This is a taboo in English-speaking culture, okay? And number 8 is you don't ask a woman about their age. In English-speaking countries, it's strange, but there's this connection with women. If they age, if they get older, then the idea is that they start to look less attractive, which I disagree with personally, okay? But there's this idea that 21 is the best age for a woman. And then after that, they start to feel a little bit uncomfortable about talking about how old they are, especially after their 20s. Okay. Now, of course, if it's someone's birthday party, then it might be obvious. But even then, a woman may still not want to share her age, even on her birthday. So this is something that people often find strange. If it's someone's birthday at work and it's a female, you still do not ask them, how old are you? Okay, you just say happy birthday. You don't talk about the age, which is peculiar a little bit, right? But it's taboo, okay? So those are the 8 taboos in English-speaking countries. What about in your country? Have I missed any taboos that might be in your country? Let me know in the comments, okay? And don't forget to subscribe and get your free guide to learning English with songs in the description. You do not want to miss it, I promise you. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Keep learning, my friend, and keep going.